This is former Victoria police officer Peter Bellion. For over 20 years he dedicated his life to reducing road trauma on Victorian roads. As a crash scene investigator with the Major Collision Investigation Unit, he attended more than 2,000 road fatalities, witnessing the carnage of road accidents and the pain and devastation that comes to families.
But let's change one small thing. At 60, the driver would have had more chance to see him properly. He'd have stayed in control and reached this point a moment later. The car would have cleared his path and he'd be home by now.
But while Peter was working crash scenes, he was ignoring signs that his own body was in need of help.
I knew there'd been 10 years where I'd been dealing with what I now know as PTSD, even though I didn't know it was PTSD at the time.
Peter was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder following the Kerang rail disaster in 2007, where a train and a truck collided, killing 11 people and injuring many more. And 3 months before that, Peter also attended the Burnley Tunnel fire, another devastating accident which left 3 people dead. Both of these events and the thousands before them were compounding, and he started treatment at the Austin Hospital.
Well, they call it recovery. Mind you, it's a bit of an anomaly because the first thing they'll say to you when you go out there is there's no full recovery once you've got PTSD. I still had the view, I'll do this course, I can come back to work in some form or another. And then you find out, no, that's not going to happen. And that's a pretty big shock because, you've been a police officer for so long and given everything to the job, and you love that job, but you realise that your body physically won't allow you to do that anymore.
Peter isn't alone in his battle. He's one of many retired police officers who have been diagnosed with PTSD.
They end up with situations where they've put other social networks aside, they've put their family aside for the job, and they pay the ultimate sacrifice.
Sadly, many of our first responders suffer from PTSD due to the traumatic environment in which they work.
A lot of people won't want to come to the point of saying they've got a problem. They'll push it behind them, and I did the same thing. I'm all right, I'm okay, everything's fine. When you get a victim, somebody that's been diagnosed with that and found out they've got that, and you look at the work, I've received an Australia Day honour in 2009. It wasn't for not doing anything. And there's this bit of a stigma associated with it, which shouldn't be, because the ones that get it are actually the workers. That's the ones that are actually out there day in, day out making a difference.
Peter's doing better, but some days are still very tough.
I'm at home cooking some hamburgers, and you actually get to the point where you've burnt one a bit, so you're getting that burning smell, burning meat and smoke. So when you go to a car crash where somebody's been incinerated, guess what? You got that burning smell and that smoke. So that's the burning smell and the smoke that's then triggered the memory to be tapped into from one of those instances in the past. And before you know it, the amount of adrenaline and cortisol you got at the time you went to the job is then dumped into your system at a point in time when you don't need it. And in that instance, when that occurred, I went flying 3 metres back into the kitchen bench behind me.
Peter has shared his story and wants to give courage to other people to ask for help.
It's a well-known medical condition. It's well known that there are other long-term effects of this medical condition, and there shouldn't be any stigma associated with anybody that says, look, I'm struggling with this, I need help. And there shouldn't be any hold-up or hurdles to jump in seeking that assistance.